This holiday, Verizon is giving you incredible gifts and savings you'll enjoy all year. When you switch, you'll get 4 new iPhone 17 Pros. No trade-in needed. That's right. Get 4 lines for just $25 a line and the amazing iPhone 17 Pro for everyone. Save big this holiday. Visit Verizon today. $20 monthly promo credits applied to account over 35 months with a new line on unlimited welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G and 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply for phone offer. See Verizon.com for details.
We live in a culture obsessed with dieting, weight loss, and exercise. And that can make eating disorder behaviors easy to miss. But the reality is, eating disorders are serious mental illnesses that take a major toll on your health and your life. But recovery is possible. Eating disorders are more common than you might think. Chances are you know someone who is struggling with one. Or maybe you're struggling yourself. If you're concerned about an eating disorder in yourself or a loved one, I want to introduce you to Equip. Equip is a fully virtual, evidence-based eating disorder treatment program that helps patients achieve lasting recovery at home. Every Equip patient is matched with a multidisciplinary care team that includes a therapist, dietitian, medical provider, and mentors. And you get a personalized treatment plan that's tailored to your unique goals and challenges. Equip treats patients of all ages and all eating disorder diagnoses. It's covered by insurance, and there's no wait list. If you think that you or a loved one could be struggling with an eating disorder, don't wait to get help. Visit equip.health to learn more. That's equip.health.
A rich life isn't a straight line to a destination on the horizon. Sometimes it takes an unexpected turn with detours, new possibilities, and even another passenger or 3. And with 100 years of navigating ups and downs, you can count on Edward Jones to help guide you through it all. Because life is a winding path made rich by the people you walk it with. Let's find your rich together. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
We live in a culture obsessed with dieting, weight loss, and exercise. And that can make eating disorder behaviors easy to miss. But the reality is, eating disorders are serious mental illnesses that take a major toll on your health and your life. But recovery is possible. Eating disorders are more common than you might think. Chances are you know someone who is struggling with one. Or maybe you're struggling yourself. If you're concerned about an eating disorder in yourself or a loved one, I want to introduce you to Equip. Equip is a fully virtual, evidence-based eating disorder treatment program that helps patients achieve lasting recovery at home. Every Equip patient is matched with a multidisciplinary care team that includes a therapist, dietitian, medical provider, and mentors. And you get a personalized treatment plan that's tailored to your unique goals and challenges. Equip treats patients of all ages and all eating disorder diagnoses. It's covered by insurance, and there's no wait list. If you think that you or a loved one could be struggling with an eating disorder, don't wait to get help. Visit equip.health to learn more. That's equip.health.
Hello, I'm Sarah, and welcome to the Whispering Woods Reddit and listener story episode. I've got 3 spooky Reddit stories to share today. I'll get straight into them. Are you ready for the first story? Never wander through the Irish countryside during a flood. When I was still just a teenager, my family and I had moved from our home in England to the Irish countryside. We lived on the outskirts of a very small town, surrounded by nothing else but farms, country roads, along with several rivers and tributaries. I was far from happy to be living here, as in the Irish Midlands, there was basically nothing to do. A common stereotype with Ireland is that it always rains, and let me tell you, as someone who lived here for 6 years, the stereotype is well deserved. After a handful of months living in the Midlands, it was now early November, and with it came very heavy and non-stop rain. In fact, the rain was so heavy this month, the surrounding rivers had flooded into the town and adjoining country roads. On the day this happened, I had just come out from school and began walking home, approaching the road which leads out of town and towards my house. I then see a large group of people have gathered around. Squeezing my way through the crowd of townfolk, I'm then surprised to see the road to my house is completely flooded with water. After asking around, I then learn the crowd of people are also wanting to get to their homes, but because of the flood, they and I have to wait for a tractor to come along and ferry everyone across, a pair at a time. Being the grouchy teenager I was then, I was in no mood to wait around for a tractor ride, when all I wanted to do was get home and binge TV. And so, turning around, I head back into the town square to try and find my own way back home. Walking all the way to the other end of town, I then cut down a country road, which I knew eventually would lead to my house. And thankfully, this road had not yet been flooded. Continuing for around 5 minutes down this road, I then come upon a small stoned arch bridge, but unfortunately for me, the bridge has been closed off by traffic cones, where standing in front of them was a soaking wet policeman, or what the Irish call Garda. Ready to accept defeat and head all the way back into town, a bit of Irish luck thankfully came to my aid. A jeep had only just pulled up to the crossroads, driven by a man in a farmer's cap. Leaving his post by the bridge, the policeman then approaches the farmer's jeep, seeming to know him. It was a small town after all. With the policeman now distracted, I saw an opportunity to cross the bridge, and being the rebellious little kid I was, I did just that. Immediately tiptoeing my way towards the bridge, all the while keeping an eye out for the policeman still chatting with the farmer through the jeep window. I then cross over the bridge and hurtle down the other side. However, when I get there, I then see why the bridge was closed off in the first place. On this side of the bridge, the stretch of country road in front of it was entirely flooded with brown, murky water. In fact, the road was that flooded, I almost mistook it for a river. Knowing I was only a 20-minute walk from reaching my house, I rather foolishly decided to take a chance and enter the flooded road, continuing on my quest. After walking for only a couple of minutes, I was already waist deep in the freezing cold water, and considering the smell, I must have been trudging through more than just mud. The further I continue along the flooded road, my body shivering as I do, the water around me only continues to rise, where I then resort to carrying my school bag overhead. Still wading my way through the very deep flood, I feel no closer to the road outside my house, leading me to worry I have accidentally taken the wrong route home. Exhausted, shivering, and a little afraid for my safety, I now thankfully recognise a tall, distant tree that I regularly pass on my way to school. Feeling somewhat hopeful, I continue onwards through the flood. And although the fear of drowning was still very much real, I now begin to have a brand new fear. But unlike before, this fear was rather unbeknown. Whether out of some primal instinct or not, I twirl carefully around in the water to face the way I came from, where I see the long bending river of the flooded road. But in the distance, protruding from the brown rippling surface, maybe 20 or even 30 metres away, I catch sight of something else. Or should I say, someone else. What I see is a man, either in his late 30s or early 40s, standing in the middle of the flooded road. His hair was a damp blonde or brown, and he appeared to be wearing a black trench coat or something similar. But the disturbing thing about this stranger's appearance was that while his right sleeve was submerged beneath the water, the left sleeve was completely armless. What I mean is, the man's left sleeve, not submerged like its opposite, was tied up high into a knot beneath his shoulder. If it wasn't startling enough to see a strange one-armed man appear in the middle of a flooded road, I then noticed something about him that was far more alarming. You see, when I first lay eyes on this stranger, I mistake him as being rather heavy. But on further inspection, I then realised the one-armed man wasn't heavy at all. If anything, he looked just like a dead body that had been pulled from a river. What I mean is, the man looked unnaturally bloated. As one can imagine, I was more than a little terrified, unaware who this strange, grotesque man even was. I wasn't going to hang around and find out. Quickly shifting around, I try and move as fast as I can through the water's current, hoping to God this bloated phantom would not follow behind. Although I never once looked back to see if he was still there, thankfully, by the time the daylight was slowly beginning to fade, I had reached not only the end of the flood, also the safety of the road directly outside my house. Already worried half to death by my late arrival, I never bothered to tell my parents about the one-armed stranger I encountered. After all, considering the man's unnatural appearance, I wasn't even myself sure if what I saw was a real flesh and blood man, or if it was something else. Wow. I think I would have just fainted and drowned on the spot if I saw something like that coming towards me. We are currently under flood warnings where I live as well, so I'm just a bit like, I don't want to see bloated bodies coming towards me. Are you ready for the second story? Nothing has happened in 10 years, up until the past 2.5 weeks. We bought our home 10 years ago. It was built in 1955, but was completely rehabbed months before we bought it. The girl that lived here before us couldn't afford the annual property taxes on it, albeit the home being paid off by her father, who she'd inherited it from after he passed away suddenly in his mid-50s. After he'd passed, she lived in this home for under 2 years. Before we put an offer in, I'd asked our agent numerous times what it looked like before. She claimed, asked the seller agent if they had any, but said there was none. That always intrigued me because I wanted to make sure it wasn't some weird hoarder home with some sort of mould issue that came to be a pig with makeup on, like so many flips can be. Either way, we liked the location and most importantly the home and large lot, so we put in an offer and closed 30 days later. When we were moving in, we noticed a husband and wife sitting in the driveway while we were lugging stuff in from the U-Haul. The wife was in a wheelchair and the husband was in a fold-up chair. They were in their mid-70s, if I had to guess. They both have passed on. We waved to them and told them we'd swing by later to introduce ourselves, but we were supposed to have the U-Haul back in the next hour. We were, at the time, military and didn't have the money to reserve the truck the entire day. By the time we were done and came back from the U-Haul place, they'd already gone back inside and we started unboxing our things. A few hours later, we went to the bedroom to go to sleep. About 20 minutes in, we both heard booming, almost like drums playing. It sounded like it was coming from the kitchen area, so I told my husband how mad I was. Of course, we'd bought a home that seemed fine, but the neighbours liked loud music at night. We went to the kitchen area and it had stopped. So we went back to bed. About 5 to 6 minutes later, it started back up. My husband was asleep by then, so I got up to look. It sounded like it was coming from the garage. Door to the garage is in the kitchen. So I opened the garage and it stopped. This happened 2 more times. The last time I woke my husband up because it started to freak me out a bit. Finally wound up going to sleep, woke up the next day and continued to unpack. The neighbours were outside as we were in the garage putting empty boxes out there one by one. I walked over and said hello. She was from the Philippines and he was from Utah. They'd met while he was serving in the Marines and had been together since the age of 19. I asked her about the house we'd just bought, what they knew about it. What she told me was that the gentleman that owned the house died of a sudden heart attack at his doctor's office up the road, who is now my doctor, and his daughter inherited it. He had lived there for 33 years, and she tried to run a daycare out of it, but it failed. I then asked if they'd seen the inside before, and she said their house and our house were the exact replica, one level brick ranch, and had never been inside. The only inside of anything she'd seen was the garage, because he was a drummer in a jazz band and would play the drums until around 8 to 10 p.m. each night, depending if it was the weekend or weekday. So that scared me, with the drums, or boom, boom, boom the night before sounding like it came from the garage. Nothing happened after that. Until 2.5 weeks back, my closet door started moving on its own. I freaked out and ran out of the bedroom and called my husband at work. Everything seemed fine. Then about 12 hours ago, I was cleaning the master bathroom and came out into the bedroom to sip some water. The bed legit picked up on the left side and moved. My husband was home and heard me scream. Any thoughts on this? I'm sleeping on the couch tonight. There is something about beds shaking that I don't like. Not one bit. I have felt in the past like my bed was shaking when I've been sort of half asleep. I don't think it was. I think it was just that kind of in between wake and sleep kind of dream. And I thought my bed was shaking. It actually could have been, now I think about it. Are you ready for the third and final story? My mum had a strange friend as a kid, and I'm not sure what to make of it. Has anyone else heard of something like this? I've been thinking about sharing this for a while because my mum has told this story the same way her whole life, and I've never been able to figure out what it could have been. She's a very straight-edged, logical person who doesn't lie, exaggerate, or make things up. So when she says this happened, I believe her. When my mum was around 4 or 5 years old, she was going through a very abusive situation. Her father hurt her regularly and even let his friends abuse her too. One day, after a particularly bad beating, she was hiding in her closet, crying, and feeling completely alone. She remembers feeling unloved, scared, and just totally broken down. That's when something appeared with her in the closet. She says it was about her size at the time, maybe 4 to 5 feet tall, with the face of an old man, and an upturned, almost pig-like nose. It told her it didn't have any friends either, and that it would be her friend. From that moment on, they basically spent all their time together. They played with toys, solved puzzles, looked at books. She remembers all of it very clearly and describes him as a real friend who made her feel less alone. It was protective too. One time she wandered off into the woods near her home, and it scolded her and brought her back. Whenever adults were around, it would disappear. She said it would crawl under her bed and go into the wall through a little door. But whenever she looked afterward, the door wasn't there. For a long time, my mum thought maybe it was something her brain created to help her survive what she was going through. The only problem is, the reason my grandma moved them out makes my mum sound a lot less crazy. One day my grandma was walking past my mum's room and heard my mum talking to what she thought was herself, until she clearly heard a grown man's voice answering her back. She rushed into the room, but no one was there. My mum told her about the little man, and the very next day, my grandma moved them out of that house. My mum remembers that last night clearly. She says the little man showed up one more time, angry and upset, that she told her mother about him. He said they couldn't be friends anymore. She never saw him again, but she still gets sad thinking about him because, in her words, he was my closest friend back then, and I miss him. I'm not trying to jump to conclusions about what it was. I honestly don't know. Maybe it was some kind of coping mechanism, but the way she describes it, and the fact that my grandma heard a man's voice, has always made me wonder if something else was going on. So I'm posting here to ask, has anyone ever heard of anything like this? Something that appears during childhood trauma, interacts, hides from adults, talks with an adult's voice, and then disappears for good once discovered. I'm genuinely curious if anyone has experienced or heard of anything similar.
We live in a culture obsessed with dieting, weight loss, and exercise, and that can make eating disorder behaviors easy to miss. But the reality is, eating disorders are serious mental illnesses that take a major toll on your health and your life. But recovery is possible. Eating disorders are more common than you might think. Chances are you know someone who is struggling with one, or maybe you're struggling yourself. If you're concerned about an eating disorder in yourself or a loved one, I want to introduce you to Equip. Equip is a fully virtual, evidence-based eating disorder treatment program that helps patients achieve lasting recovery at home. Every Equip patient is matched with a multidisciplinary care team that includes a therapist, dietitian, medical provider, and mentors. And you get a personalized treatment plan that's tailored to your unique goals and challenges. Equip treats patients of all ages and all eating disorder diagnoses. It's covered by insurance, and there's no wait list. If you think that you or a loved one could be struggling with an eating disorder, don't wait to get help. Visit equip.health to learn more. That's equip.health.
I'm really pleased that the author's mother found this creature kind of friendly and comforting. That if anything with a pig nose was in my cupboard, I can't think of, no, I just can't, because all I think about are like the pig men They call pigmen. I can't remember now. But you know, it just can. And the squealing, there is something, I think it's probably going back to like Amityville with pigs screaming. It really, really freaks me out. And because they eat everything. So a piggy-nosed man would really frighten me, but I'm so pleased that it didn't frighten the author's mother. Well, that's it from me today. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you again tomorrow with Toby. Take care, everyone.
This holiday, Verizon is giving you incredible gifts and savings you'll enjoy all year. When you switch, you'll get 4 new iPhone 17 Pros, no trade-in needed. That's right, get 4 lines for just $25 a line and the amazing iPhone 17 Pro for everyone. Save big this holiday. Visit Verizon today. $20 monthly promo credits applied to account over 35 months with a new line on unlimited welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G and 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply for phone offer. See Verizon.com for details.
Avoiding your unfinished home projects because you're not sure where to start? Thumbtack knows homes, so you don't have to. Don't know the difference between matte paint finish and satin? Or what that clunking sound from your dryer is? With Thumbtack, you don't have to be a home pro. You just have to hire one. You can hire top-rated pros, see price estimates, and read reviews, all on the app. Download today.
The stories told on the Whispering Woods are inspired by historical records, witness reports, and local folklore. While every effort is made to research and represent events accurately, some details, names, and locations may differ from official accounts or have been changed out of respect for those involved. These episodes are created for storytelling and entertainment purposes and should not be considered definitive fact or investigative journalism.